Hello everybody, welcome back to August bus build. This will be episode 2. Today is November 6th, but this episode will probably progress over a couple of days. Not consecutive days, but over a couple of days. I figured I'd do like a compilation of a bunch of little projects that I eventually need to do, but won't make up one complete video on their own. So we're just gonna throw them all into a video, and that's what this is. Today, I have 2 potential projects. The first being my tires need air. As you can see, this one looks a little low to the ground. A little low, it's a little flat down there. So we're gonna air this up and figure out how much to air it up to. I don't know where the PSI would be, but it's on the tire somewhere. So if you're airing up tires at home and you don't know how to do it, the tire will usually tell you what you need to air it up to. This tire looks good, and I haven't checked the other 2 yet. But we will check all of them with a little tool that tells me how much they are, and then we'll air them up to whatever it says on the tire. And also the spare that's in the back over here, we're gonna air this guy up too, because it probably needs air too. Even though I don't know how to change a tire, that's something to learn on another day. Okay, so I'm gonna get the bus going, and then we're going to drive it over to the garage where we can air it up. So I moved my bus now, and we're gonna air it up. We got this on the end of a really long tube. It's just a Schrader valve, typical for like what bikes have. This is hooked up to a compressor at the end of this tube, and this little lever will push the air through, and I let go of it, and it'll tell me what PSI it's at with this end right here. This also has a Schrader valve at the end of it, but I'll put it up to my tire for like a second, and this little thing will shoot out and go whoosh, and it'll tell me what the PSI is currently at. So I'll use this to check which tires are low and how much they need to be aired up, and this one will air it up. Okay, so now we're gonna test all the tires. This is the first one. It's not the one that we know that is flat, but I figured we'd just start with the closest one. I was 2, and then go around the bus and test them all. So this is number 1. So what you do is you screw off the cap, and you throw the little thing on there, and it goes, and it tells you how much PSI it's at. And so right now it's at like 30-ish, but we're gonna do it a couple times just to check. See, 30 again, and 30 again, and last time, that's about 30. It's a 44. There's 2 things here. It's this bottom one right here. I'm sure if you're doing it on your own tires at home, it'll be just somewhere on there. Mine needs to be at 44, so this one's a little low, but not quite terrible. So we're gonna air this baby up. I'm gonna go get the air hose thing. Alright, now that we got the compressor going, I'm sure you can hear it, it's pretty loud. We are going to throw this on here and push some air out. So this lever will push the air through. As you see, this gauge is coming out. It's throwing like 60, 70 PSI of air. And we're gonna air the tires up now. We're trying to get it to 40-ish. It's so hard to get it on straight, so it's not shooting air out. Yeah, that's perfect. It takes a little bit to figure out, at least with my hose, and it takes a while to figure out where it's perfect on there so the air's not coming out or not going in. But once we got that, we got 44 in there. It's a little bit, it's right around 44, so it should be perfect. Might even explode, might be too much in there. Feels good when I knock on it. And move on to the next tire. Just about 40. That's good. Alright, well that's 4 tires down. They're all about 40 PSI. They're supposed to be at 44. At least I only checked one of the tires. I probably should have checked all 4 before I aired them all to 40. Because, you know, I just assumed that they were all at the same tire, but, you know, they could have been, like, not the same. Future reference, check all your tires before you air them up. Not just one of them. One more. We have to do the spare. What does it say? I feel like this is definitely one that I should check before I put air in it. So it says nowhere on here how much I'm supposed to fill this up. And if it does, I didn't see it. When I checked it, with this thing, it only went to like 10. Like not even 10 PSI. So we're just gonna air it up a little bit so at least we know that it's drivable on. But we don't want to go overboard. I'm not gonna put 40 in here, just like 30-ish. And then hopefully that's okay. And so it doesn't explode, you know? That'd be bad. Alright, well, I put like 30-ish in there. The compressor started running out of air and I don't want to restart it. So it's in between 20 and 30, towards 30 more so than 20. So we're gonna call it good. And hopefully I don't need a spare. And another time I can look up how much I'm supposed to put in the spare or see if I can find it. Yeah, so that's it for tires. We're gonna move on to the next part of the project, or the second thing that I have to do today. Alright, I'll see you then. Alright, so I think how my bus works is that the heating all comes from the engine, and it runs under like a insulated tube that runs along the middle and the bottom of the bus, and then it comes up in the front and in the very center of the bus through like another couple of tubes, and then it runs along the sides to get to the back, and it separates, the hot air separates into 2 tubes when it comes out of the engine compartment area. It goes through the left one and the right one, or I guess your right and my left, whatever. There's 2 of them, and it goes through both of them. And what connects them to the front of the bus is this thing, and each side has one of these. One is already hooked up down there. I'm gonna see if I can hook this one up down there too, and that way I would have heat to my bus. Alright, so I've got a sled that I'm gonna use as, like, you know how like mechanics have the rolly thing that they slide under their car? I'm gonna use a sled. I think this was my dad's idea. We're gonna go under right here just to see. If I remember correctly, it's on the other side of the bus, but I just want to see what's the best way to get to it. Alright, it's pretty dark. I'm underneath the bus. That right there, this ribbed thing, the other of that tube that I was holding in my hands earlier. So it goes, the hot air runs from the back of my bus. That's the engine right here, this thing right here. The heat runs from there, the engine compartment, runs through this tube, runs underneath all this stuff, this right here, and connects to this insulated tube, and runs all the way along the bottom of my bus and then up in the front. So I'm gonna go underneath the other side of the bus, see if we can get this tube in, which I have no idea how I'm gonna do it, but it goes somewhere in this general area over here. Alright, so this tube right here, where the rust kind of is, that's where the ribbed heating tube would go, and it'd run through this area and connect to this black tube right here. But as you can see, it's kind of pointing in a not great direction in comparison to this. And also this black and red and silver contraption is my electric fuel pump, and it runs right through this area and gets in the way of my heating. And it also probably would not be good to have something super hot running right next to the fuel pump anyway. So no heat for the current point in time. Well, that kind of blows. I'm not gonna have heat anytime soon, but it feels good that we tried and we looked at it. So that's it for me today. I'm gonna do a couple more of these things, throw them into the video, and so let's jump to the next day. Hey, what's up? Hello. Today is November 19th. I guess kind of randomly, I decided to work on my bus. Well, I'm going to a film festival in 2 days, and I have to take my bus. The doors open at 6:30 at night, and I'm a couple hours from home. My usual bedtime's like 7, so I'm gonna be pretty tired. So I figured I'd build like a makeshift temporary bed in here. So I figured, messing around with this, what would it take to take the back of the bench seat off? So that way maybe I'd have this back flat part where the cooler is, and then this seat part of it as a bed, like, so this whole area would be a bed and it wouldn't be that small. Anyway, so this thing comes up a bit, and how it works is there's right there, see that little ledge hanging off, that white ledge? There's usually a bolt there. As you can see on this one, maybe there's a bolt in there, and it goes through a little black part hanging off the bottom of the seat, and the bolt goes through that into the bus. And so there's just 2 bolts holding this here. That's why it's so easy to move. I already removed one of the bolts. This is it. This is the one I already removed. So now I'm in the process of removing the second one, which is sitting right there. My problem is currently that if I'm not holding this up, it falls a bit. So I kind of propped it up with this, but it isn't quite enough to get my tool in there to get it off. And there's very little room to even rotate my tool when I do get it in there. Right now my goal is to get it in there, get it on the bolt, and then do my best to turn it and take it out. Okay, I pulled the tool out, and it brought the bolt with it. I didn't realize it was that far gone already. It's much shorter than the previous one. This is the previous one, and this is the one I just got. I'm gonna set my tools down, and we're gonna see if we can take this off. That's it. Yo, nice, bro. That's, well, I guess that's not that nice, but except for the little crack, it's pretty flush. Alright, well, I don't like that is rubbing against the metal. The little part where the bolt went through is rubbing on the metal, and I don't like that. But I think this will work. I think I can make a bed out of this. I could even stuff this. Like, I want to put like a towel or something to stop this from grinding, like this one, and this one over here. We'll stop them from grinding on the metal, and then maybe I could even stuff it with some more stuff. Stuff it with some more stuff. Yeah, so we're gonna do that. We're gonna stuff this crack, clean this area up, and make a bed. Well, I think that's it. I think that's going to conclude the second episode of August Bus Build. This was a fun one, jam-packed with a lot of things. So, yeah, thanks for hanging out while we messed around with the heat and aired up the tires and built ourselves a little makeshift bed. I appreciate you, and as always, thanks for watching. Where you